What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to go over the AFC South, my predictions for the AFC South, and damn, did last night really change everything for that entire division. I'm going to start off right away with the obvious one. Prior to last night, this team was going to be the divisional winner, and then Andrew Luck retires. So Indianapolis, you have one of the probably top 5 quarterbacks in the game right now at this point, 29 years old, and he just retires out of nowhere. You got to feel for Andrew Luck. He's put a lot of time into getting back to being healthy and things like that, and trying to be there and lead this football team, but he just couldn't do it anymore. So it means Jacoby Brissett's the guy now. Like I said, I would have had the Colts winning the division and making a deep playoff run, maybe even an AFC championship run. But without Andrew Luck, Jacoby Brissett jumping in there as the new guy. I mean, I like Jacoby Brissett, but it's going to take him a couple years. It sucks, man, because they got T.Y. Hilton coming back. He should be healthy this year. The receiver core is kind of just okay. Other than that, their offensive line is actually a top 5 offensive line in the league finally, but it's too little, too late. Andrew Luck took those hits for all those years with a trash offensive line. They finally get a good offensive line, and then he retires. So, kind of sucks. Kind of seems like a waste. The running back core is pretty average with Marlon Mack. Naheem Hines had a pretty decent year last year, but he was kind of week to week. Eric Ebron's back, so he should be good. It's just going to depend on whether Jacoby Brissett can make things happen with these receivers. On the other side of the ball, they had a top 10 rush defense last year. And they were top 10 in points against. I think their pass defense, though, was like 18th, so they have to work on that. But they should still have a pretty solid defense this year with Darius Leonard. He's obviously a stud. Malik Hooker should be better this year at safety. They drafted 3 DBs in the draft this year for secondary depth. They drafted 7 total defensive players in the draft. But just with Andrew Luck retiring, I think that's a low blow to this team. So my prediction is 7-9. I think they'll split all the divisional games. The schedule's not tough, but without Andrew Luck, we don't really know who this team is. We don't know what their identity is anymore. I like Jacoby Brissett, like I said, but I think he's going to need a year or two to actually, fall and fit into this role as the guy or the franchise guy. I think in a couple of years they'll be solid, but I think now, just losing Andrew Luck, it's not the year for Indianapolis. So next up, we got the Titans. This is a make-or-break year for Marcus Mariota. They're saying that in camp he might not even be the starter week 1. It might be Ryan Tannehill. So that's pretty sad. Obviously, Marcus Mariota, pretty highly sought-after guy coming out of college. Hasn't really lived up to expectations so far. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm not a super big Mariota fan. He's got talent, but he's too inconsistent. Corey Davis should have a breakout year at receiver. They don't really have a whole lot else at receiver besides Corey Davis. Delaney Walker, obviously coming to the end of his career, but he still should get plenty of targets, and he's still, a beast. Offensive line's not very good. Their left tackle, Taylor Lewan, suspended for the first 4 games of the season, so it's not going to help him out at all. The running back core is top tier, though. They got Derek Lewis and Derrick Henry and Dion Lewis. I like both them guys a lot. Thunder and lightning type deal. Derrick Henry is really surprising me. I didn't expect much out of him in the NFL, but he's really, earning his keep. And I like Dion Lewis as well, kind of a receiver out of the backfield kind of guy, can get you yards, touchdowns, stuff like that. But yeah, it just comes down to Mariota has to get better, man. He's got to get more accurate. His decision-making, he's got to get better. But, he might not even be the starter week 1. On defense, they were 8th in yards against, 18th in rush defense, and 3rd in pass and points against. Sorry. So they have a pretty solid defense, pretty solid pass defense. They have the average rush defense, but, the NFL is a passing league, so that's where they're going to shine. They have a dope secondary with Adoree Jackson. I really like him. So defense, I think, is going to carry Tennessee this year. I think if you look at the other 3 teams in the division, this is the only team that is solid and has a chance. So my prediction for Tennessee is 10-6. I think they're going to sweep the Jaguars and the Texans, and they're going to split the games with the Colts. They don't have a super tough schedule. I think it's probably going to be a wild card exit for them. They might make a divisional round, but I'm thinking wild card exit for the Tennessee Titans. So the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, man, he's got to have a better year this year. He had a pretty decent year last year. That receiving core is ridiculous with DeAndre Hopkins, Will Fuller, and Kute. And I got Hop in fantasy, so I'm super excited about that. He's the best receiver in the league. They have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Huddle ranked in 31st overall offensive line in the league. They don't have a tight end threat at all. They drafted 2 guys last year at tight end, Jordan Atkins and Jordan Thomas, so nobody really knows who those guys are. And then at running back, to add insult to injury, Lamar Miller is possibly torn his ACL, and he's out for the year. And they have Alfred Blue from – no, I don't even know who their backup is. Duke Johnson. Sorry. Yeah, Duke Johnson's their backup, and he's really it. But on the other side of the ball, they should have a top 10 defense. They got J.J. Watt if he can stay healthy. They got Jadeveon Clowney. They got a pretty solid secondary led by Tashawn Gibson. But with that offensive line and the lack of running back ability, and their schedule is pretty tough. I predict them to go 7-9. It's not that I think they're a bad team. I just think they got to play a lot of tough teams that I don't see them getting the upper hand on. I think they'll sweep Jacksonville and they'll split the games with the Colts. And then I think Houston's going to get swept by Tennessee. So not a playoff year for Houston. They're a fringe team. They could potentially flip it if Tennessee, for whatever reason, just completely blows it this year. Then they could possibly, make a move and win the division. But I don't think that's going to happen. And then we got Jacksonville. So can Nick Foles turn the franchise around? Well, maybe not turn them around, but get in the right direction. Can he get Jacksonville to the playoffs? They got a pretty awesome young receiving core led by Marquise Lee. They got Dede Westbrook and DJ Chark. Those dudes are beasts. They don't really have a threat at tight end, just Jeff Swain from Dallas. He didn't do much when he was in Dallas. They have a pretty terrible offensive line. Leonard Fournette's coming back. He's obviously a star, but his durability is a real problem. I don't know if Leonard Fournette can play a full season. I think he's yet to do that. So I really like Leonard Fournette, but you can't really rely on him. So their offense, we'll see how Nick Foles does with that offensive line. He obviously had a really good offensive line in Philly when he was in Philly and led those guys. We'll see how he does with a pretty bad offensive line. On the other side of the ball, this is where Jacksonville makes their money, obviously. They have the second-rate pass defense in 2018, 18th-ranked rush defense in 2018, so that's not the best, but they were 4th in points against. They got the same core with Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, Miles Jack, Jalen Ramsey. They also added Josh Allen, the defensive end, in the draft, so he'll add a lot of depth to that defensive line, and it should help with that run defense. So yeah, I mean, it's Jacksonville. It's kind of going to depend on how that offense handles business. The defense is obviously going to lock things down, but I predict Jacksonville to go 8-8. I think they'll miss the playoff just because you got like the AFC North, where I predicted 2 teams to possibly win 10-plus games. The AFC West, you could have 2 teams win 10-plus games with the Chargers and the Chiefs. So I don't think you're making the playoffs out of the AFC South unless you win the division. it's not that Jacksonville's going to be a bad team, but I think in order they could win the division too if Tennessee bombs it. It's kind of wide open right now between those three, but unless they win the division, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And yeah, so that's Jacksonville. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll get better. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Tomorrow I will be doing the final AFC West video. My dog in the background. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.